a bogey. 6 o'clock.
I see them. Defensive formation. Now, package authenticated. We are hot. November Protocol.
Democrats are absolutely losing their minds over the SAVE Act, legislation that simply requires proof of citizenship to vote. The same party that cheered when Obama showed his ID is now calling basic voter verification Jim Crow 2.0. What are they so afraid of? Well, the answer will shock you. See, it's not just about election security. It's about the future of our republic. When Democrats fight this hard against proving you're a citizen to vote, ask yourself why. We're talking about elections decided by 6 votes, like Iowa's 2020 race. Just 6 fraudulent votes could flip control of Congress. Georgia found 20 non-citizens registered, 9 already voted. Michigan, Pennsylvania, Atlanta, all places Trump called out for corruption. If you can't buy alcohol without ID, why is requiring ID to choose our president somehow racist? You see, Democrats know illegal voting benefits them, and they're panicking because Trump and Republicans are about to shut it all down. And speaking of America First policies that actually matter for our national security, we have some breaking news. January 5th, 2026 went way under the radar. You see, the U.S. Department of Energy announced $2.7 billion in contracts to restore domestic uranium enrichment capabilities. This is not just government spending, it's a declaration of intent. See, America needs uranium, domestic uranium, and it needs it right now. You see, the U.S. consumes 50 million pounds of uranium annually, but produces less than 5%. We're dangerously dependent on Russia and China, and that's why smart Americans are positioning themselves in uranium stocks before this catastrophic shift creates massive wealth. Atomic Minerals is developing the largest uranium deposit in the United States, 127 million pounds in Wyoming. While Washington finally wakes up to uranium's strategic importance, early investors could see exponential returns. Visit the link in the description for your exclusive briefing to learn how this national security crisis could become your biggest investment opportunity. That's the kind of America First thinking we need. Energy independence and election integrity. But here's what really exposes the Democrat hypocrisy. See, they have footage of Biden himself showing ID to vote in 2022. The same Joe Biden, whose press secretary now claims requiring voter ID is somehow controversial. You see, they're not against voter ID. They're against Republicans winning elections through fair, verified voting. Congressman Randy Fine, this just in, with some breaking news, is alarming, he says, that most developed countries require voter ID, but the United States does not. Requiring voter ID is common sense. Pass the SAVE Act, the Save America Act now. Countries with voter ID. I think we've seen slides like this before, but are all those nations racist? I have to ask the question, right? Because if requiring a ID to vote is racist, then every single one of those nations is racist by the Democrats' own definition. And we have this just in 2 from the president's desk at Truth Social. He had this to say: America's elections are rigged, stolen, and a laughingstock all over the world. Whether they're going to fix them or we won't have a country any longer. I'm asking all Republicans to fight for the following: the Save America Act. All voters must show identification, voter ID identification. All voters must show proof of United States citizenship to register for voting. No mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military, or travel. The press secretary today had this to say in the briefing room.
The president is suggesting, and I just spoke to him about this, is that Republicans and Democrats in Congress should pass the Save America Act. This piece of legislation is going to ensure that states are abiding by federal election law by removing non-citizens from their voter rolls. In addition, the Save America Act will require voter ID to vote, and it will require proof of citizenship to register to vote. These are very common sense policies and proposals that 89% of our our country agree with. So that's what the president is talking about. Again, I just spoke with him about this, and he's calling on both Republicans and Democrats to send the Save America Act, to pass it into law and to send it to his desk as quickly as possible.
Let's make it happen, guys. That's why we're covering it here. The press secretary's statement sets up the administration's full-court press for the SAVE Act. Watch how they pivot from policy details to attacking critics who question election interference concerns. Here is the press secretary again.
It's the media who has said that there's Russian interference in American elections. You guys have been saying that for many, many years. So the people,
in Fulton County.
well, the people in this room, considering that you all said for many years that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help Donald Trump, you should all be very happy that we finally have an administration that is looking into that, and we'll be happy to keep you posted.
We'll keep you posted, guys. We're going to stop all the election meddling now. But racist. Now the press secretary is getting defensive about election security oversight. This combative tone is setting up a broader political battle that's spilling into the media coverage. Here she goes.
Do have evidence of, and what the media seems to be undermining, is why Tulsi Gabbard is there in the first place. And I would point you again to federal law that clearly assigns the DNI and the office with the statutory responsibility to lead counter intel matters related to election security. This includes assessing risks to election voting systems, software, voter registration databases, and more, and analyzing foreign interference. And the ODNI is responsible for supporting the White House interagency action to secure our elections through intel analysis and vulnerability assessments. And they should be routinely collaborating with agencies like the DHS, the DOJ, and the FBI. So as for that question, it would be better suited to ask the Director of National Intelligence herself in her office. But what I'm telling you is that it is more than appropriate. In fact, it is Tulsi Gabbard's job to ensure that our elections are safe and secure. And that's exactly what she's been doing on the ground in Georgia. And I don't understand why anyone in this room, considering you're all American citizens, I believe, and like to vote in our nation's elections, should have any problem with that whatsoever.
Smoked. Of course. I mean, it makes perfect sense to put Tulsi in that position. The administration is doubling down on the intelligence community, backing while questioning critics' patriotism. This aggressive messaging is triggering immediate pushback, though, apparently. Let's see.
The president is calling on Republicans, again, and Democrats to pass the SAVE Act. I will reiterate, requirement for voter ID to vote. That should be something that no American should oppose. In fact, we know that the vast majority of Americans support it. Requiring proof of citizenship to register to vote, which is not hard to do. We should be able to do that in this country. If you want to register to vote in the United States of America, you have to be a citizen in the United States of America. And this piece of federal legislation will direct states to remove non-citizens from the voter rolls. I just had a conversation with the president about it.
I'll take it. Remove non-citizens from the voter rolls? Seems like common sense to me. But of course it's racist. Let's keep going. After the policy pitch, we're seeing conservative media. Brianna Lyman. Me, non-citizen voting does happen. Philip, how frequently? Me, if you want, I can list some of it. Let's listen. This looks like, our favorite roundtable over at CNN.
What are we to make of all of this?
Well, I think given that under Joe Biden we had millions of illegal aliens come in, it's definitely fair to be worried that there could be non-citizens voting. We know that non-citizen voting does happen, even if it is rare, according to some on the left.
How frequent is it?
Well, if you want to list it, I actually have some for you. Hold on one second.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, like actual numbers.
Yeah, no,
Get to page 6 or 7
Or
to
people.
find them.
I know.
I actually wanted to have a lot of quotes for you guys. All right, here we go. So a Georgia audit found 20 non-citizens registered to vote. 9 of them ended up voting in a previous election.
20?
Yeah,
9.
let me finish. In Michigan.
How many years?
You know, it's funny when you guys mock small amounts, but let's remember that Marionette Miller Meeks won her 2020 election by 6 votes. Okay. Imagine if there were 6 fraudulent
6
votes.
undocumented immigrants?
No,
they weren't.
My point is that some elections are decided quite literally on the margins, and every vote counts.
But not a single presidential election has been decided by a margin of
can I finish my point?
voters.
Can I finish my point? That doesn't, just because it doesn't impact a presidential election, does not mean that it is not worthy of attention.
What is the percentage of fraudulent non-citizen voting in America?
I don't have the percentage, but I have more examples if you guys wouldn't cut me off. Let me just finish. Exactly.
I don't know.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. 41 non-citizens cast a ballot in North Carolina in 2016.
Okay,
1,500 foreigners registered to vote in California by the state DMV. They were not citizens in 2018.
Oh, did they? And
vote?
were they caught?
Did they vote?
Actually,
Did they vote?
it doesn't
They're
matter
just
if
registered to vote. That doesn't
registering
mean
to
they
vote as a
vote.
non-citizen is legal.
So-
According
I know,
to
but
18
they
U.S.
didn't
Code
vote.
Section 1015 subsection F says that anyone who knowingly makes a false statement when
Hold
registering
on,
to
but
vote
here's the
can
thing.
get jail time.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I wanted you to go through it because I think it illustrates in and of itself how actually incredibly rare this is. And even when, the Heritage Foundation went looking for non-citizens voting over the course of, 10 plus years, they found 77 cases. Actually, more than 10 years, about 24 years, they found 77 instances of non-voters voting. And they went looking, okay? So, listen, if this were about people, non-citizens voting, maybe that's the case, then please help me explain why Trump is still obsessed with Georgia, where he was looking for 11,000 votes, where Georgia, they've got voter ID, they've got tough voting laws. Why is he saying that Georgia was a fraudulent state that he actually won when he did?
Well, we all know what happened in 2020. And this little SAVE Act is designed to fix all that. But, again, racist. The mockery from the panel discussion is fueling Republican counterattacks. Watch how they're using Democrats' own voting behavior to expose what they call hypocrisy. Rare Jim Crow era footage of Joe Biden showing his ID to vote in the 2022 midterm elections.
How you doing? Thank you.
Her first vote.
Your first name? I'm Natalie. Natalie Biden now voting. Pretty good. You look better in person.
Yes. Natalie, is that the one you were showering with? I think it is. That Biden voting footage is amplifying larger conservative strategy. They're pulling historical examples to dismantle the Jim Crow narrative around voter ID requirements. In 2012, Brandon Tatum bringing this up, President Obama got asked to show his ID to vote. He pulled it out, cracked a joke about the photo, and complied. No drama, no whining. Now Democrats call basic voter ID Jim Crow 2.0. Same folks who cheer when it's Obama, but cry racism when it's not.
Good to see you, Kelly. All right.
She needs an ID.
Oh, you're right. Hold on a second. I got my driver's license here. Here you go. Now, ignore the fact that there's no gray hair in that picture.
Right, presidency does something.
It does.
The presidency does something to you.
Did you just look and see? Did you guys see that?
Yeah, big joke, right?
How about that? Thank you.
She's going to get a card for you.
All right.
Thank you.
You see that? These Obama comparisons are building towards Trump's most explosive claims. This is where rhetoric shifts from defending voter ID to directly attacking the cities and the states. Here is the president talking about some of the most corrupt places in the nation.
Say national. I said there are some areas in our country that are extremely corrupt. They have very corrupt elections. Take a look at Detroit. Take a look at Philadelphia. Take a look at Atlanta. There are some areas that are unbelievably corrupt. I could give you plenty of more too. I say that we cannot have corrupt elections. If we have to, if they don't straighten it out. As an example, voter ID. Why don't the Democrats want voter ID? You know who does want voter ID? Democrat voters want it, but Democrat politicians don't. Why don't they want it? Because they want to cheat on elections. Can you imagine if I were a politician and they asked me, do you want voter identification? And I said no. There's no way you could win that debate.
But even
the Democrats don't want voter ID. If they don't want voter ID, that means they want to cheat. We can't allow cheating in elections. Now, if we need to put in federal controls as opposed to state controls, remember this, they're really an agent. They're really accumulating the votes for who wins an election. If they can't do it honestly and it can't be done properly and timely, then something else has to happen.
President Trump knows the game. He's a victim of it. And of course, the United States suffered, but, you know, God had other plans. He really did. And of course, by them stealing 2020, it gave us the runway, gave President Trump the runway to line up his campaign for 2024. And that's what makes it so important. So here we are. The mask is completely off. Democrats spent years screaming about Russian election interference, demanding we secure our elections. Now Trump proposes actually securing them by verifying citizenship. And suddenly they're against election security. See, they want foreign interference as long as it benefits them. The SAVE Act is not controversial, it's just common sense. Require proof of citizenship to register, show ID to vote. Every honest American supports this because every honest American wants clean elections. The only people opposing voter verification are those who benefit from voter fraud. And President Trump, what's he doing? He's forcing them to show their true colors. And it's beautiful to watch. When Democrats fight this hard against proving citizenship, they're telling you everything that you need to know about how they've been winning elections. Do you think requiring proof of citizenship to vote should be the law in all 50 states? Let me know in the comments and make sure you check out the Next News merch shop.
The system controls information. Information control is power. I want you to see this. Truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now.